It's a problem is nothing but something that comes in the way of helping them achieve. Okay. Say you wanted to go from point A to point B. Say you wanted to go from your home to your workplace, or I don't know, like in a coffee shop or a grocery store. So a problem could be something which puts an obstacle in your way. Okay. Say if your clients are planning to lose weight, so they want to lose weight, that's the desired outcome they want to achieve, but something is causing problems for them. It could be cravings, it could be a mindset issue, or it could be hormones, like whatever that's going to be, right? So whatever that obstacle is, our job as coaches is to just remove those obstacles out. Okay. And they will find their path. It's just helping them to remove those obstacles. Sometimes, like, those obstacles are tangible, which you can actually see. Sometimes those obstacles are intangible, like they're just all in the head, right? That's where the mindset, like I keep talking about mindset. So mindset work is like so very important. If you're a mindset coach, you would understand better than anyone else, like how important the mindset work is, right? Because tactics and all these things only work until like a certain point. Even to that certain point, one of the biggest obstacle what I have seen, like even personally for me, and even working with like so many entrepreneurs in my entire career and life, is it's the biggest thing is mindset. The When you help them shift the mindset, or even if you when you shift your own mindset, that's what personal development is. Personal development is the primary aspect of personal development is the mindset, like working on yourself. you know if you are a shadow worker, like you help people doing the parts work or shadow work, you know exactly how important it is to get that integration done, like to heal your parts. uh, because like when you heal your parts, then you become whole, right? So that's why it's the sum of parts is greater than the whole itself. Okay, so that's why mindset is like really really important. And again, what I have seen, the other thing that I have seen personally is, if you have been waiting for something that, okay, uh, I'm posting social media content, but seems like no one is resonating with it. Or I'm writing emails, but seems like no one is resonating with it. What you're going to learn in today's masterclass, once you have these three elements, I promise you, every single piece of your content, okay, and every single marketing communication you do will shine a greater light, and you will see a lot of conversions. Okay, because when when you speak directly to the people, your ideal target audience, when you actually touch their heart and their soul, they respond. It's that's how nature is. Okay, uh, like sun, okay, shines its light on the plants. Okay, that's when the flowers blossom, right? So because it goes, the sunlight hits the core. Okay, that is in the nature. Okay, if you see the nature, if you observe nature, okay, if you're like really being present and observe the nature, then you would understand how important this is that I'm about to share. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so I call it three S's. Okay, so three S's of your messaging. Once you have these three S's dialed down in your messaging, okay, whether you're starting out, whether you're an established coach, whenever you're communicating, okay, make sure that you follow this three S's framework as much as possible, as much as possible. Okay, there might be some certain situations where you're not following this, that is okay, fine. Okay. Because like you cannot just generalize and apply this in everywhere. Um, Even though if you want, you can. But this is where I see it actually helps you. Okay. So the first S, okay, is talking about a very specific problem, a very specific problem. Okay. So this problem that you'll be talking about has to be like a micro problem. Okay. That is when it becomes like very specific. Okay. I'm not talking about like the overall messaging. I'm talking about the very specific marketing communication. Say today you woke up and you want to, okay, like I wanted to promote my business. I wanted to post on social media. Okay. Instead of promoting, hey, I'll help you, overcome your limiting beliefs. Like I'll help you overcome your money blocks. Like, I'm a money mindset coach, or I'm a transformation coach. I'll help you do programming for your subconscious mind, like something like that. That is like very broad. Like that's the big, like overall big problem. Like if you ask me, Rafi, like what do you do? Like I help spiritual entrepreneurs and heart-centered coaches, to build, launch, and grow their businesses, like so that they can create more impact, they can make more income, they can go live their life and according, to their higher self. That's the big overarching problem. Okay. So when I take that big overarching problem and I break it down like small bits and pieces, okay, then I get like probably like 100, 200 problems. Okay. So say like for me, like three pillars, I call the three pillars. It's actually four, but the major three pillars are like marketing. I'm helping spiritual entrepreneurs and coaches with marketing. I'm helping them with their sales, like with the conversations, with their messenger conversations, or like Zoom calls or in-person conversations. Then I'm helping them with their fulfillment, like what more to how to build a program, like how many steps, like and all that. And the overarching is like the mindset, like that's the biggest thing. Like I help them to work with, because I know that is where the key is. Like once that mindset shift is unlocked, like I have seen like people growing in leaps and bounds, because I am a living, breathing testimonial of this. Because like a few years ago, I wasn't that person. Okay. And even today, like it's a work in progress. I'm working on a lot of things. So if I take that, like those three, four pillars, then one pillar, marketing. Okay. So in that marketing, what are the problems? Okay. People are having problem with their messaging. People are having problem identifying their audience. People are having problem identifying your messaging. That's where this is the messaging, the exact problem that I'm talking about in today's masterclass. Okay. So with that messaging, okay, there are again like multiple micro problems. The messaging could be on the sales page. Messaging could be in the ads. Like messaging could be in a workshop. Messaging could be in a masterclass, or on a webinar. Like the different kinds of messagings, right? But for this specific messaging that I'm talking about, like specifically when you're doing like social media content or even Facebook ads, talking about a very specific micro problem. Okay. So isolating that problem. Okay. And even breaking it down into like micro problems, like nano problems. How does this work? Okay. So say you teach mindfulness, grounding. So what is grounding? How is grounding done? Okay. Why one should do grounding? How does this help? What is it? Okay. Um, like when you should be doing it, where you should be doing it. Like if you go like dig deeper, you will find a lot of problems, like micro problems. Okay. So when you see from this perspective, you would never run out of content ever again, in your life, because different people resonate with different problems. Okay. Say, I'm always learning about ads, right? Like Facebook ads or like Instagram ads, like how to get better at marketing and all these things. If you talk about, hey, if a marketer is talking about, okay, I'll help you fix your Facebook ads. Okay, that's very broad for me. Like that doesn't resonate. Okay, if someone says that, hey, like I can help you fix like your ad costs. Okay, these are the three things that you should be doing in order to reduce your ad costs. Like this is the strategy, or these are the tactics. Then that piques my interest because like every other marketer, I am looking like how to optimize the investment in the ads, like how to optimize the cost for the ads, right? So that is why not every problem would resonate with every single person, even in your target audience. Say you deal with single moms with burnout and stress and everything. Not every single mom would have like the same issues. Like, one single mom, she might have teenagers. She might be going through something very different in her household. Another single mom, like she might have toddlers. She might be going through a very different phase. Okay. So, what appeals for a single mom with toddlers might not appeal um, the single mom with teenagers, right? So, it's single mom, that's the audience, but even in that audience, like not every problem would resonate, like even though they have the same problems, but not every problem would resonate. That's where the micro problems come in. It's like talking about in your messaging a very specific. The reason why a lot of coaches or like people who do marketing are afraid of talking about very specific problem is of missing out. It's FOMO, fear of missing out. Okay, oh, if I talk about very specific problem, what about like my audience who doesn't have that specific problem? That is okay, you can get in front of them with another specific problem. Okay, that is why the minute you start thinking about the solutions, okay, so solution, what is that solution that you will be providing for their very specific problem? Like what are the steps in order to solve that micro problem, and what are the steps? That those steps are basically your process. Okay, we'll talk about that in a bit. Okay, so that's number one. Then the other S, the second S. So this is the first S. The second S is specific audience. Like I said, like you're dealing with single moms. Okay, even in your own audience, like there are a lot of different segments. That is why when I'm teaching ads, like specifically when we are following the invisible list building strategy, we do multiple contents. The multiple content, like the video ads or the image ads, they kind of appeal to the same audience. Okay, same audience. Say if you are targeting people like who follow Tony Robbins. Okay. So Tony Robbins is like a broad niche, like personal development, like people who want to improve themselves, like get better, like overcome like their limiting beliefs, like on all that stuff, right? Okay, maybe get ahead in their business, like get ahead in a career or in their relationships, like get better at their health, like whatever their issues are. So it's a personal development. It's very broad, right? So even if you take like uh, let me draw this here. Uh, uh, Sorry, I'm trying to find something I can show you guys illustrate here. Um, but anyways, it's basically what we are doing here is let me see if I can find shapes. Can I find shapes? No. So if you take like Tony Robbins' audience as a circle, okay. Maybe I'll draw it here. Okay. Say This is Tony Robbins' audience. Okay. So this circle represents Tony Robbins. Okay. Now, if you take this and if you look at, there's this segment, there's this segment, there's this segment, there is this segment. This will all make sense in a bit. Okay. Please bear with me. Okay. So this is all the Tony Robbins audience. Okay. Who are want to get into the personal development space. So if you see here, so this audience segment, this green audience segment, within that, maybe they're having relationship issues. This here, they might be having career issues. This person might be having issues in their business. Maybe they're not able to get their business off the ground or something like that. Maybe this person is having issues dealing with their phobias or something like that. This person is having issues in their relationships, like they're not able to get their dream partner, or maybe they're not able to stay in a relationship for too long, or whatever that's going to be. See, the same broader audience, but there's different segments. Okay, so there's a different segments for each audience, right? So that is why, like, different content here, that is why different content would speak to specific audience segment. Okay, this is basically a segment. It's not just the specific audience, but specific audience segment. So this specific problem here should appeal directly to that specific segment of audience. You have broader audience. Say for me, the spiritual entrepreneurs and heart-centered coaches, like, it's a broader audience. It's very broad audience. But each of you have very specific issues. Some might have, like, maybe confidence issues or mindset issues. Some might have issues around, like, marketing. Some might have issues around sales. Some might have issues around the offer. Some might have issues around the messaging. Like, the same audience, they have, like, because based on their journey. Okay, because say if someone wants to go run a 10K, okay, so that's the goal, is to get to the 10K milestone. Some might have issues at 1K milestone, some might have issues at 2K, 3K, 4K, 5K, 6K. So as you keep going every milestone, people will have. So people, the person who's at the 5K milestone, okay, for them, the other milestones like 6, 7, 8, those are the issues, like how to pass those and get to that 10K. That's their issue. Their issue is not 1K milestone, 2K or 3K or 4K milestone. Okay. The same thing with the person who's at 1K milestone, for them, everything else is an issue. So speaking directly and addressing the problems of that very specific segment of that audience in your messaging, then there would be, yeah, this person gets me. Okay. So say, just take an example for the single moms, right? So you are talking about single moms, and you're addressing, like, hey, you're a single mom, you're juggling with, like, 2 3 toddlers at home, and you're having you had a stressful work day, and you come home, and you look at that, like, your house is a mess, and you lose control, and you started yelling at, like, the situation is out of control. And when you are in those situations, like, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with not going into those situations again? So we're talking about a very specific problem, okay, and a very specific situation, okay, and very specific segment of audience, like not just single mom, a single mom who has toddlers, Okay. So that is why, like, talking about a very specific problem with a very specific situation for a very specific audience is really, really, really important. Okay. Now, coming to the third S. Okay. So, what is the third S? So, the third S is specific process or framework or mechanism. Okay. Like, whatever you want it to call. Okay. So, if you look at this for my earlier example, okay, so say you're doing a short reel, Instagram reel for your ideal target audience. So you picked a very specific problem, like very specific problem for that day or for that moment, okay, and you're targeting a very sliver, like a slice of the segment of your ideal target audience, okay, and you're talking about a very specific framework. Hey, you're a single mom with like two, three toddlers. You have this stressful day at work, and you come home and you see, like, clothes are everywhere, like, dishes are everywhere, toys are everywhere, books are everywhere. Like, it's not a good scene at home. And once you come home and you look at this, like, you lose yourself and you get irritated, you start yelling, and and the kids are terrified and they are crying and you are shouting all these things. So when you find yourself in this situation again, how to handle this? So you come home, you are like, you see this, okay? So you come home with the kids, like you pick them up from school or daycare or wherever, and you come home, you walk into your living room and you see that all the mess, and you're already stressed out, and they are chasing each other and they're fighting, and kids are calling like, mommy, like, he hurt me or she hurt me, like, they're pulling my hair, like whatever that is. When you find in that situation, this is what you do. Step one, you do this. Step two, you do this. Step three, you do this. Okay. So you're talking about a very specific problem, which is a very specific situation. You're talking to a very specific audience segment in your ideal target audience, and you're talking to them about your unique process or the mechanism. Okay, say you in your like a burnout niche, you're teaching them about mindfulness, you're teaching about them about grounding, you're teaching them about like staying in the present, like, you're teaching them about meditation, you're teaching them about like whatever, like, your unique mechanism is, okay, because whatever the process is, like, see, a lot of these coaches, they use the same tools, okay. So the issue is not with the tool. The issue is like how you use the tool. Okay. It's like every one of us, we use tools. Just give you an example. Okay. Just give you a cooking example. So if you're into cooking, like we all have like the pots and the pans and the stove. Like, so if each of us walk into the kitchen, the same pots and pans, same ingredients, same utensils, like everything same, and you asked me to make supper, I cook supper, very different supper in a very different way. Even let's say you ask, like, me to make pasta. I make my version of pasta. You make your version of pasta. Someone else make their version of pasta. Every single pasta would not be the same, would not be the same taste, would not be the same thing because the process is not the same, even though the tools are the same, right? So that is very, very crucial. Okay, when I come across coaches talking about, yeah, like, I use hypnosis, or like, I use journals, I use, prompts, like I use like meditation, like I use all these things. Every other coach uses it, like, there is not anything specific for my framework, any unique to my framework. No, you have uniqueness in your framework. You just don't know it. That's the only thing. Okay. You see, a lot of people teach like $5 ads. The way how I teach it is unique to me. Because like I've tested it out. I know, like, okay, at the top of the funnel, this should be your content. Like, These are the problems you talk about, and this is how you attract your the ideal target audience to watch your reels or your videos, right? Then in the middle of the funnel, you retarget, like, those people with this type of content. Okay. Then at the bottom of the funnel, you target them again, those people, okay, with book a call or like whatever, like, you're selling a workshop or a master class, or like whatever your thing is, right? So that's my unique way of doing it. There might be other coaches or other marketing people who teach like very different way. Okay. So just bring you back to a process. So this, I'm talking about the three S's. This is my way of doing a messaging. Like even when I come in and want to post in the Skool group, okay? If you go in the Skool group and you see any of my posts, I follow the very specific framework. I talk about a very specific problem. I talk about like very specific audience segment, okay? So like just give you an example. If you come here into the community, say, I made a recent post, like it says three non-negotiable daily activities for business success. Okay. So I'm talking about marketing activity, I'm talking about sales activity, I'm talking about fulfillment activity. This is applicable for someone who already started their coaching practice. This is not for someone like who's already like who's in a corporate job, 9 to 5 job, and thinking of becoming a coach. This doesn't resonate with them because I'm talking about marketing activity. They don't even have an offer, like they don't have anything, they don't have the foundations of a business. Then you're not talking to them about marketing. This would be some of you in this group are would be like dealing with clients on one-on-one basis, or you're running your group coaching programs or whatnot. So for them, this works because this is like very specific problem. What is this talking about? The daily activities. Because we tend to lose, like even it happens with you, it happens with me, it happens with a lot of us. Okay, we tend to lose focus because especially when you're working in silos like as solopreneurs, or like small teams, like working with 3 4 people, then it's going to be very challenging. So this is exactly the framework I'm following. So every day, like I'm posting in Skool group, like I don't have to think about it because I follow the three S's. What is the problem, specific problem? What is the very specific audience segment that I'm talking to today? And what is the unique mechanism? So this is my unique mechanism is like I'm talking about every day I want to do one marketing activity, one sales activity, and one fulfillment activity. You see, like you see how this comes, you know, like this is your very specific steps. Okay, like coming to that single mom situation that we have been just talking about. Okay, so step one, this is what you do. You know, you zoom out and you assess the situation. Okay, the kids are shouting, kids are doing all this, you're stressed out. Okay, stay grounded. Step one, focus on your breath. Step two, step three, zoom out and look at this situation. Okay, how can I turn this moment from chaos into a memory? Maybe go play with kids, like drop everything, just go play with kids, like whatever, like your processes. Like I'm just giving an example, right? So very specific framework, or whatever your unique mechanism is, that is unique to you. So you're a transformation coach and you help people get unstuck in their career or in their life. Okay, especially like you help them unstuck in their life, like because life is like very broad. Like people have like 10,000 different problems. Could be relationship problems, could be health problems, could be money problems, could be like kids problems. There's so many things, right? So what is your unique mechanism to solve each specific problem? You have to break it down because it's the process is what makes it real and tangible. Every single thing in this universe is a process. Okay, if you really want to convert your ideal target audience into paying clients or raving fans or like diehard fans, you focus on the process because process is where conversion happens. Okay. Every single thing you take in this universe has a process. Sun has a process. Earth has a process. Moon has a process. Humans, we have a process. Okay. Like every single thing has a process. So the process is what helps people to see it. Aha, that is how I do it. But next time when I'm in this situation, that is why, like, when I post something on Instagram and I see, like, you can see, right, like, which post got saved by people, then you know exactly why people are saving that post. Because, like, when I talk about step one, do this, step two, do this, step three, do. Because when they are in the next time in that situation, maybe they are searching their Instagram account. Oh, like, what was that, like, he was talking about? Okay, so that is why the steps is like really really important, because that makes the result very tangible, because then people can see that it's like a map. Like you put on a Google map and you click on the steps, it shows, okay, in the next 1 kilometer take right, in the next 3 kilometers then take left, in the next 4 kilometers, like, merge onto this highway. So when you see that map, that's a process. Your destination feels real. It gives you more certainty where you're going, right? So that is why this process is really really important. So now, next time when you go post on social media or do a webinar or go live on your Facebook, or YouTube channel, or like whatever you're doing, focus on these three things. What is the very specific problem that I will be solving? Okay. Okay. Think about the situation. You wanted to think about the problem. Think about the situation that would create that problem. Okay. Say if you're a relationship coach, like, or you are a dating coach or someone like that, what situation would cause that problem? Okay. That person is not able to find their ideal love of life. Like, what is the situation that is causing the problem? When you think in terms of situations, then the problems emerge. Okay. Because we don't want to try to solve the situation. Situation will come again and again. But we wanted to help our clients to be equipped with the tools to solve the problem, not the situation. Okay. um, there's deeper psychology to this. So that is why focusing on the problem which can provide a solution is really really important. Then that specific problem would resonate only to the specific audience. Don't try to go broad with that messaging, especially when you are doing like the post or running the ads. Okay, like if I show you my ad account, like I'm running like these $5 ads, right? Like I have so many ads running here, like I turned it off. Like you see what you do, corporate jobs, people who are in corporate jobs, like if you see this, like people who are thinking about can't pay bills, people who are posting 3 times a day and not getting clients, people who are looking at building websites, they're thinking these are the coaches, like, oh, if I have a great website, clients will come. So that is the situation they are in, and that's the problem. What is the problem actually, which is bringing that situation? Free content. Oh, I when I post free content, like, they're gonna love it, like they're loving it, but they're not converting into clients. Niching down. I want to talk to everyone and anyone. That's what I've been talking about just a few minutes ago. Charging thousands of others are charging thousands of dollars, like, but some coaches are just stuck in $100 session, like, $50 session, something like that. So this is like people who come into this business, like they leave the corporate job. I heard this somewhere. People leave a 9 to 5 job to get a 5 to 9 job. Okay, to become entrepreneurs, because as an entrepreneur there's no set time, right? Like, there's no boundaries. They think that it's going to be all rainbows and unicorns, but it's not actually, right? Especially if you don't know, and if you don't have the right coaching and the guidance and the community around you and the support, it's going to be harder. It's I wouldn't say harder, like it's not going to be the way how you expected it to be, right? Fear of judgment, like this is dealing with the self-doubt and sabotage, like that's a situation, right? Making money is like stressed. So that's to the clients, like they have wait list of people. Like some months they have wait list of clients, like some months they don't have any clients. It's a feast or famine, right? Some people are trading time, like they're doing one-on-one sessions, they're getting burned out. How is that impacting, right? So it's scaling, like people try to scale, but like did not work out because like they adopted someone else's framework and it did not work out. You see like six-figure launches, like people who do like constant launches, like every 3 months they'll do a launch, they burn out, then they resent it, then whenever they want to launch, because they will need money, whenever they want to do the next launch, like now they are terrified deep inside, right? People, again, like it's, you see all these different contents, it talks about a very specific problem. That very specific problem is dealing with a very specific segment of audience, and each segment of audience, okay, I'm connecting with those segment of audience with a very specific mechanism to solve that problem. Okay, this is not just theory. Like I showed you my ad account, like I'm running the ads to it. Like if you see, um, like you see the through place result, that's a through play meaning people who um, watch at least 15 seconds of the video. Like for all these ads, like 30,000 people, 30,500 people watched 15 seconds of the video. It means that those are the people who are interested in what I'm saying. They are in my ideal target audience. And see how much I spent? About 313 Canadian dollars. 313 Canadian dollars is roughly about 200 US. For 200 US dollars, with probably like you go out with a family of four, probably you'll spend like 150, $200 for lunch or dinner. Okay. So for one lunch or dinner meal, family lunch or dinner meal, I was able to put my message in front of 30,500 people. That is the beauty. Okay. That is the beauty of this process. When you talk, because like, you cannot reach with like one problem, like I'm going to reach with one problem like everyone. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Right. That is why like these frameworks are like really, really important. Okay. Like I can teach this framework with that framework. Like it's like a loop. You see, like even if you like zoom out and if you like watch this masterclass again and just think about it, like what is Rafi teaching here? I'm teaching about a very specific problem, like which is like the messaging. Okay, I'm teaching to a very specific audience, like people who are posting and who are not getting like success with their messaging. Like why is, like I'm posting in Facebook groups, like I'm sending email to my list, like I'm talking to like people, like I'm running ads. Why is like no one responding? Okay, why is no one responding? Or like very few people are responding. I thought like at least like 10 people will respond, but 10 people are not responding. You go back to this framework. Okay, am I talking about a very specific problem? Not the broad problem, like very specific problem. Okay, I'm not talking about marketing in general here today. I'm not talking about sales here today. I'm not even talking about the entire business today, but I'm talking about a very specific micro problem, which is people who are having this situation where they are not getting conversions, where not they are not getting hand raises. Like people are not raising their hands. Hey, I want to solve that problem because it's not resonating with them. Imagine you go and stand in front of 100 people and you're talking gibberish. You're talking about a problem they have, but they're not getting it. Okay, so that is why talking to the problem in which they understand is like really, really important. Like speaking their language. That is what speaking their language means. Okay, so how you speak their language with this situation. That is why, like, if you go back and rewatch this again from the beginning, when I opened this masterclass, if you are in this situation, if you are in this situation, if you are in this situation, then what I'm about to share will help you. See, I talked about situation because with that situation, I connected to the problem. Because people just don't connect with the problem. You have to talk to them about that situation. That's what triggers psychologically. Oh, yes, I remember that. I remember that situation. I remember that situation when I was working with this toxic boss, like, who was condescending, who was demeaning, like, who was overpowering, like, who was doing all these things to me. Okay. I'm not talking about the problem. I'm talking about that situation. That's how they connect to the problem. Okay. So that's one way of thinking about problems. See, I can't tell you what to think. Okay. I'm like, my objective is not to enforce any ideas or any philosophies onto people, right? Um, I lay out the plan. If that resonates with you, you pick up. If that doesn't resonate with you, that is okay, fine. I always want to teach people how to think rather than what to think. Okay. Like how to grow, how to learn rather than what to learn. I can't tell you what to learn. That's for you to decide. No one can tell you what to learn. But what I can do is like I'll tell you how to learn. How is the process? Hey, like just talk about problem, like how to identify problem. Like look at the situation that is creating the problem. You know, then you solve the problem. Okay, so when next time they get into that situation, they know how to solve that situation, like how to solve that problem. With that specific mechanism that you're teaching them. Okay, so you know the real secret of building a process. When you think of the process of the steps, like how to solve this very specific problem, you know how it you know that it's very successful when your clients started teaching that process to others. Okay, say you're a meditation coach or you're a mindfulness coach or you're a burnout coach, and you're teaching certain strategies. Okay, like your framework, like say, hey, these are the 3 steps you do when you are in this situation. Okay, you get involved in some sort of accident, it's a car accident or like something like, a powerful impact, like, a sudden loss of a loved one or something, like you are in that moment. Like how do you compose yourself? Like how do you process that emotion? You're talking about that. Okay. When people learn that, when people embody that process, they teach it to others. They're talking to their moms or dads or kids. I do that same time too. I do that same thing too. Like, I learn something from others. I teach to my kids. And when I'm teaching, that's when I catch myself. Wow, this is an amazing process. Now I go and decipher what was this process? How was this design? How did this help me that it made me to teach it to my kids or like talk to my wife about this, like talk to like, my other colleagues or friends or like even clients or, the peers, like the people I coach. If I'm talking about that process, it means that I learned that process and that process was very effective. Okay. So that is why like the most effective process that you can design is the most effective process that you learn. As simple as that. Okay. Like I'm all about the process because I study psychology a lot. And for me, that's how I understand it. Okay. Yeah, so that is it for today. So now you have the tools. Okay, so the 3 specific S's. Okay, so specific problem, identifying with a specific solution, specific audience segment of specific audience segment, and a very specific process or a framework or mechanism or like whatever you wanted to call it. Okay, your thing that helped them to solve that problem. Okay. So with that, I don't think so. There are any questions, so I'll close it off for today. If you guys have any more questions, please feel free to drop them in the Skool community, or even drop them in the messenger. Like, just send me a DM, and I'm more than happy to expand on that, because the more you guys give me feedback, the better it also helps me too. Okay, so with that, I take off. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day and a wonderful day. Bye now.